Any questions? Good, because I don't have any answers. Okay. We're not quite through, but almost. We're getting there. What is this doing for me? Well, it's going to create 8 networks. Okay, so I just take the number 256 now and divide it by 8, and that's the IP addresses. No, it doesn't work that way. Because now I must ask the question. If I converted 3 binary zeros into binary ones to create this 224, and I want to know how many nodes am I going to have in each network, which I have to have that number to, then I ask myself the question, okay, how many zeros did you not turn into ones? Well, if I borrowed or masked, both terms are correct. Depends on whether you're Microsoft or the rest of the world, or Cisco. Borrow or mask, either one is correct. But be prepared for one or the other to show up on an exam. It means the same thing. If I masked 3 bits, how many did I leave? 5. Another key number. What am I going to do with that number 5? I'm going to find it over here in my little magic number list. And that tells me how many nodes I will have per network. All right, a quick recap. However many zeros I turned into ones, 2 to that power is how many networks I'll have. However many zeros I left as zeros, 2 to that power is how many nodes I will have in each network. Now, I'm not going to write down the complete IP address. I'm just going to say, okay, network 1, the 204, the 211, and the 191 stay the same. I'm only dealing with this number. First network. What's my network range? Well, it's going to start with the first number. And this is where a person under the stress of an exam will make the first mistake. They will write down first number 1. No, first number is 0. 204, 211, 191, 0. But this is a network. Yes. So it needs a range. A range with what? A range with 32 addresses in it. 0 through what is 32? There is 32 addresses. That's my first network. Well, what's my next network? Okay, now, if instead of you trying to remember zeros, it's going to be 1 less, and then I have to add back, just do it this way. What's 32 and 32? 64. Write it down. It's going to be the first number of your next network. And you continue until you completely run out. Who's got a calculator? Who's good at math? Because I need to add 32 to this, and it's going to give me what, a 96? Check me, folks. 96 and 32 is going to give me what?
128.
128. So y'all think I'm asking you because I want you to give me the answer? No, I'm asking you because I don't know. I need a little pencil and paper to do this. Okay, so I'm going to take 128 and add 32 to it, and that's going to give me 160. 160 and 32, that one's easy.
192.
192. Now, I'm going to add 32 to that one, and Travis's calculator just pooped out on him, so somebody else is going to have to answer. 192 and 32 is probably going to be 224. That's just a guess. I'm going to write it down slowly.
Yes.
Yes.
224 and 32 is what?
256.
I can't have it. There's no 256 in an 8-bit number. So I'm finished, aren't I, with my first numbers? If I'm finished, I should have how many ranges up here? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, where does this range, what's my next number? 32? No, it's going to be one less than this. You're through with complicated addition. Now you're going to do simple addition. What is 1 less than 64? 63. What is 1 less than 96? 95. 1 less than 128? 127. 1 less than 160? 159. 1 less than 192? 191. 1 less than 224? 223. And then, of course, the end of the run is 255. The next place now that most students make their mistakes, especially under the stress of a exam, is to realize that there's not a single number on this board that's usable. Not a single number. Watch. You cannot use the first network. Uh-oh. Gone. You cannot use the last network. Gone. Well, the rest of them are usable. No. Because you cannot use the first address or the last address in any network. Meaning that in this network that is usable, the number 32 is not. Why? Because it's the network identifier. And the 63 is not usable. Why? It's the broadcast address for that network. So you come up with a 33 through 62. Those are the usable IP addresses in that network. Now I'm just going to do one more so that I can give you some sample test questions. 65 through 94. Okay, one more. 97 through 126. Now, your test questions, at least the way I do it, are going to all refer back to the same IP address and the same basic scenario. So you're not going to have to do all of this for a dozen different scenarios just to answer a dozen questions. You'll do all this work and then your questions will be like this. What is the first usable IP address? 204.211.191.33. What is the broadcast address of the second usable network? 95. I didn't say the second network. I said the second usable network. 95. And what is that network? 64. And what is the first usable IP address in that network? 65. And what is the last usable IP address? 94. And then I'll throw some questions in to test your knowledge, like simply, why can't I use 95? And you need to say, it's the broadcast address for the network 204.211.191.64. And then another question would be, is the IP address 204.211.191.158 a usable IP address? Yeah. And what network is that? 128. What's its broadcast address? 159. Is the IP address 204.211.191.250 a usable IP address? That's a gotcha question if you're under stress, because you're going to look at this and say, can't use that one, can't use that one, 250's in between them, I can use it. No, you can't, because that's not a usable address. That's not a usable network. All right, now the thing for you to do, those of you that are taking this class online, is to review this lecture multiple times, because you're not going to get it the first time. When I teach this class in the classroom, I spend 3 class periods doing nothing but the same lecture over and over and over again. Now your questions, you've got the discussion boards, you've got email, you've got Yahoo Messenger, you've got telephone, and if I can ever get text messaging, well, you might have text messaging, but I can promise you, you don't want to ask a question about subnet masks and subnetting in text message. You'd be boop, 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 boop for the next 20 minutes. But stay in touch, because the test, you're going to be taking a test on this. The test is not going to be 50 questions. It's going to be basic, 10 to 15 questions. Do this and answer the following questions. Now, as far as how to ask questions in the online environment, I just covered that. But in this room and all these people that are here, do any of you have any questions? Or is this pretty much, you're ready to take the test in the next 5 minutes? Everybody's ready to take the test. Okay.
No, I do have one question.
Okay.
Through the duration of the remainder of this course, just how important is this going to be to us?
It won't be important to you in the remainder of this course. It will be incredibly important to you when you take your Network Plus exam. The concept of this will be important in the real world as a network administrator when you start subnetting IPs, because your company says, buy another Class A with 16 million addresses just so that you can put a router in your little shop? I don't think so. Then you're going to need to subnet. But the mathematics of it, here's the good news. There are subnet calculators. Boy, I'll bet those are expensive. Free on the internet. You don't use them in this class. You don't use them in the Network Plus exam. You better use them in the real world, because my advice to you as a network administrator, do not trust your mathematical prowess to an entire network IP address, because one screw up may not show itself or rear its ugly head until you've already put 1,500 stations online. And then all of a sudden this station's not working. Oh my goodness, I've been assigning network numbers to workstations. Scrub the whole thing and start over again. Use the subnet calculator. Any other questions? Other than, where's that subnet calculator? SolarWinds, one word, solarwinds.net. Anything else? Thank you for listening. Any questions? Let me know.